Hey guys, my name is Steve and welcome to AEAC Vlog. If you're new around here, that's cool. This is actually a sister channel to my primary YouTube channel, the Airgun Exploration and Advancement channel, also known as AEAC Home. Over there, you will get full in-depth product reviews as well as around the world event coverage. But this here channel is my opportunity to get in front of you guys a little bit more, slow things down a little bit, and bring y'all in on some learning, discovery, and approach as I receive these products and make my way towards a full review of them over on AEAC Home. Now this here is the Air Arms S510 XS Ultimate Sporter. It's made in the United Kingdom. This one came to me by way of Air Arms, and price point is around $1,500 bucks. Now the S510 isn't new. I know the XS has been in the States here for, geez, I want to say at least 5 years, but it's recently been given a very important upgrade that really does a nice job of bringing the gun into the now. And that's that Air Arms finally gave it a regulator. And also over at the British Shooting Show this week, they actually awarded this gun Airgun of the Year. So great job, Air Arms. All right. Now the gun itself is 44.5 inches long. Weighs in at about 8.2 pounds by itself. With a scope and full of air and with a magazine full lead, it comes in at around 10.3. The stock is ambidextrous. It comes in 3 different stock options. This one here, which is called their laminate, a really pretty walnut. And it even comes in what they call a black soft touch synthetic over wood, which is basically like a coated wood that feels like rubber. It's a very nice, soft, grippy type rubber. The gun here in the States comes in 177, 22, 25. This one here is a 25. The barrels that they're putting in these guns are by Lothar Walther, but I've been able to spend time with other guns that use Lothar Walther barrels, and I think there's something a little bit different about this one. I don't know for sure, but it's been my experience that they polish the inside of these barrels, because when I pull a cleaning patch through, it feels like I'm pulling that through polished glass, and that isn't always the case. And I don't know if this is the reason, but it's made this, or it seems to have made this barrel very forgiving. But we'll come back to all that, and we'll come back to the regulator, I promise. As you can see, the barrel is fully shrouded and vented. And Air Arms incorporates what they call their Q-Tech moderator, which if you look up in the business end of that, there are some fanciful things going on in there. It's not just gauze and wire, if you will. And it does a very good job of taming the 42 to 43 foot-pounds that I've been seeing out of this gun. All right. Now, the air tube itself is smallish. It's only 186 cc's, which does a nice job of giving this rifle kind of like a traditional classic center fire look and feel for those of you that aren't wild about the bottle guns. And the regulator that lives in here, I must say, I'm kind of blown away with what a great job Air Arms has done with this, especially for their first regulator attempt right out of the gate. They're getting a large amount of efficiency out of it. For example, I'm getting about 35 shots on a fill. It does take a 250 bar fill. It falls off the regulator at seemingly around 145 bar. You'll actually see the power kind of come up a little bit, and then it'll fall off that reg. But I'm getting 35-ish shots with an extreme spread of like 10-ish. It's Pancake City. I mean, it is flat as can be. And now if you want to push it to 36, 37, you're going to see like a little shot, like I said, come up and come down. And your extreme spreads are going to open, into the 20-ish range, which is still perfectly acceptable for performing at a high level out at 50 and 100 yards. Now, You know, Air Arms is not a new company. If you guys are new to them, these guys have been around for a very, very long time, and they are well known in the community for pretty much putting together the most bulletproof, refined, reliable air gun on the planet. Those are your guys' words, not mine. But you know what? I tend to agree with you. You know, to me, they're right up there with the Air Arms as far as build quality. Or the Air Arms, the Rapid Air Weapons as far as build quality. You just don't hear of these products failing. But, you know, things can break, but you've got a nice warranty, of course, through Air Arms if they do. But the gun itself has a high level of refinement in it. As you can see, it's side lever cocking. The cocking is extremely smooth. It's kind of got like this where it comes back under weight, and then the final little bit is spring loaded. It can be decocked. These the magazines, it will ship with two 10-shot magazines in 25. I'm not sure what the capacity of these is in 177 and 22. I'm guessing it's more. But an interesting thing about the magazines, these are also kind of known throughout the airgun industry is pretty much being the most solid mag on the planet. Again, those aren't my words. Those are actually the words of other high-level airgun companies, airgun manufacturers that I'm speaking to when I'm out there in the field rubbing elbows with them. So, you know, I think that says a lot for Air Arms. Now, if I turn this around, you will see that the magazine fits right in here. And hand loading is really not an option. So if you want to shoot, you know, a longer pellet or maybe a slug or even something like a poly mag, you know, I can't get them to fit in the magazine. There may be a single shot tray type of loading mechanism available from Air Arms or aftermarket. I can't say absolutely for sure, but that'll be up to you guys to check out. Now the trigger is a little bit different. It's the same in that pretty much every Air Arms I've ever had, let me rephrase that. Every Air Arms I've ever had my hands on, the triggers are perfect right out of the box. I've never felt the need to fool with them. This one's dual stage. It's competition grade. Speaking of competition, this gun enjoys a very high level of success in competition over in Europe. So that's something you want to be mindful of, which might have something to do with why it's been awarded that Air Gun of the Year over there. I mean, a lot of people compete at a high level and win time and time again with this platform. But the trigger's dual stage. It's match grade. It's very adjustable. I'll bring you guys in a little bit here so you can see it. First stage take up is nice and short and light, and just a little bit more pressure. I'm guessing. Haven't had the gauge on it yet, but I'd say it's probably 2 pounds-ish, maybe less. You know, it's letting off. Now, something they do differently is the safety is manual, which is a good thing, but they've actually incorporated it right into the side of the trigger blade, and you can see that. Some people have complained about that. I personally have always found it's great because, you know, you're up here on target. You don't want to bring your finger down, push it off, you know, and then you fire. But when you own the gun, that all becomes very familiar and very second nature. I do want to talk a little bit, circle back a little bit more to that barrel. Now, I spent quite a bit of time learning the gun, and I will get it out to 50 and 100 yards and put it through the rest of the paces out for the full review. But here, as I'm trying to figure out what pellets to bring with me out there for you guys, I'll tell you what, I wound up in a real pickle because this gun, I don't know if it's because of the barrel that they're selecting specifically with Lothar Walther, or it's because I'm pretty sure they're polishing it. It just feels like amazing inside. But it seems to be very forgiving, and it did really well. At 25 yards, it pretty much doesn't matter what you shoot. Was able to get the gun to perform with everything that I had here except for the H&N Grizzly. Now the barrel is choked, so it's probably not going to like slugs, which may be why it didn't care for the Grizzly, but pretty much liked everything else at 25, and I'm guessing that would be the same for 30 and 35. Now some things that really kind of surprised me is how well it did with the Benjamin domes, which is a nice thing because this is a value-priced ammunition. Absolutely love those. It kind of surprised me how well it did with the 34 grain Kings. This is quite a bit heavier pellet than the 25 grain that the barrel has been designed around. So you're going to get upwards of 43 foot-pounds-ish with that. It's basically a 42 foot-pound gun with the 25 grain pellet. And in speaking to Air Arms, they've actually, like I said, they've designed the barrel around these 25.4 grain Diabolo fields. So that would probably be a great place to start. And it really liked all the different 25 cal H&N stuff too. It just didn't matter. It was just pretty much hole on hole no matter what I did, as long as, you know, I did my part. Now I do want to talk about something else that's different between this and the last S510 I've played with. And that's the adjustable power selector over here on the side. It is a 5-way. That's max power there. So that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as far as power. And in foot-pounds with a 25 grain pellet, that translates into 42, 38, 30, 17, and 5, if I remember correctly, right? And what's kind of so cool about that is this super forgiving barrel over here really did well with both of the lead-free alloys. The 19 grain by H&N, the Barracuda Green, and the 16 grain by GTO. And that's a nice thing if you're concerned with backdrop, you know, distance and travel with the pellet, or maybe you're shooting inside of a structure and you don't want to carry all of that energy. And this kind of came in really handy. Now at full burn, it did fine with the 19 grain Barracudas, but it was pushing these 16.5 grain GTOs to like 980 feet per second, and I couldn't get the consistency out of it. But when I dialed it back to power level 4, they started going hole on me. So it speaks to you know, the added versatility that something like this adds. Now, if you look over here on the other side of the gun, as I worked my way through these little detents on the power selector, you can see you know, the little plus minus coming up there. So regardless of which side of the gun you're on, you can tell what's where you're at as far as power. But like I said, it's about a 42 foot-pound platform. I was finding that most of those pellets were landing 25 yards downrange, still carrying about 35 foot-pounds. So that's a lot, guys. You know, to put that into perspective, 177 moving at like 1,000 feet per second, generating like 16, 17, 18-ish. So you got a lot of power here to really reach out to 50 and 100 if that's what you need to do. Now, I want to show you something else kind of here on the bottom of the gun. Air Arms calls this their accessory rail. It's a little bit unorthodox in that it kind of takes, it'll come with this, all right? It'll come with like this little sling stud, and all right, there's one mounted here on the back too. There it is. And you put a little Allen in that sling stud, and as you rotate it clockwise, it puts pressure on this little pad, right? And it'll lock itself, you know, into this accessory rail so that you can move it around. Now, this little silver piece here I got from Rapid Air Weapons. It's an accessory rail to Weaver adapter. You slide it in there. It works on the same principle. You tighten it with a little pressure Allen grub screw type deal, and then you can put on something like a bipod or a flashlight or whatever. You know, this gun is, to me, deserving of a Weaver rail down there, Air Arms, for us here in the U.S. market. And if this is what's important to them over there in Europe, then, you know, stick with that for those guys. But it's a nice gun. It really, really, really is. The stock does have a nice adjustable comb. The butt pad, as you can see, is also adjustable. And as long as I'm kind of needling Air Arms a little bit, you know, this is cool. It's nice and safe. I like it because it's kind of their design, but it slows me down a little bit, which is such like a petty gripe. I know it really doesn't matter, But, you know, the way this works, you slide it on here, you tilt it to the side, and then this can't come off, so it's nice and safe. And then you hook your, you know, your air source to your Foster fill. And then you do your filling. And then when you're done, you relieve the pressure and you rotate this around and you slide this off. I don't know why, but when I'm fiddling with this, like when I'm out working with the gun, it's always a little bit cumbersome, and I get it. It's so petty, but, you know, Air Arms, if you're letting me have my way, which I know you won't, I'd love like a little Foster fill or something up there just to do a quick disconnect, but, you know, not a big deal, and I know that you're probably paying homage to your tradition and all that good stuff, and that's all well and good. It works just fine, and like I said, it's very, very, very safe. I think I want to leave it right there for the gun itself, and I want to talk about something else. So if you guys are new to AEAC, you know that Airgun Nation and myself like to partner with the airgun industry and host monthly airgun giveaways. And something that's been really important to you guys that has been difficult for us to say yes to, just because of international trade laws and all these other, you know, protecting other countries and their resources and ability to sell and make money and earn a living. It's been really hard for us to open these competitions or these events and giveaways up internationally. But that's going to change, at least for this month in Air Arms. So what's going to happen is the gun, everything you see here except for the bipod, that's mine, you can't have it, is going to be given away in what we call Review, Discuss, Win, which is where I review the product over on AEAC Home and then send y'all over to Airgun Nation, where you can participate in a really nice discussion thread and ultimately the giveaway of these items. But what we've got is we're opening this giveaway to the United States, to the United Kingdom, and to Canada. Now Canada, the Canada piece will kind of be managed by Travis over at Airgun Source. If there's a winner over in the United Kingdom, that'll come to you directly from Air Arms. And then, of course, if we have a winner here in the United States, it just ships to you from me. Now, like I said, everything you see here except the bipod and a bunch of other stuff, believe it or not, but we'll get into that later in the week. So to include the scope from Optison Optics, this is a 4-16 by 42, I want to say it is, 44. Okay, this is our EVX series, very, very nice scope. Again, that'll be managed in Canada. I've talked to them. They're going to handle that over in Europe for us if we have a UK winner. If you've win here in the States, you're going to get the actual one you see on the gun. And you're going to get these mounts here. These are by Sports Match, and these are their height adjustable mounts. I felt like that was appropriate for a gun of this power and this caliber. So if you really want to stretch things out and need to do some compensating, you can do that. So I wanted to say thank you to those organizations that are kind of carving a new path for us here with these monthly events, and I know you guys appreciate it too. If you do, please pipe up in the comments, because they watch these videos and they read what you guys write. But yeah, just want to say thanks. It's always cool when we can do better by you, by asking of them, and they kind of go the extra mile and find ways to get these things done for it. But yeah, like I said, I think I'm going to stop right there, and thank you for spending some time with me, and I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, this has brightened your day a little bit, and I will see you very soon over on AEAC Home with the full review, event, discussion, and giveaway on the S510 XS Ultimate Sporter.